Anti-inflammatory foods for me have been one of the greatest measures of understanding whether I'm listening to my body. I grew up in a Jamaican household and majority of my meals were of Caribbean cuisine. Occasionally, I would have a happy meal here or there, but it felt like 365 days a year. My lunch was a PB&J. I liked the crunchy peanut butter back then. I also wonder if any of those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are still under my bed or maybe in the ceiling tiles. Later, when I was older, I started making more of my food choices, and it literally was just that, like choosing which fast food place. I wasn't cooking or burning much of anything back then, other than holes in my shoes and maybe some gas. If I had the money. Nah, I didn't. It would just go to food. Fast forward to today, I'm back doing what my mom did for me when I was younger. Eating nothing but home cooked meals with veggies and really good spices, and they have great properties. And my body feels like a tank. Not as in heavy, but as in like strong, built to last. Is that like a car company reference? And if I happen to decide to go with like faster, more processed items, my body just feels stuffy and has a lot of mucus buildup, and I could barely keep myself awake shortly after finishing the meal. But it just doesn't stop there. Because I have all this mucus buildup, it becomes harder to breathe. So I'm breathing out my mouth. Because I'm breathing out my mouth, when I go to bed, now I have this really heavy snore. Now that I have this really heavy snore, I'm sleeping, but I'm not getting enough oxygen. Because I'm not getting enough oxygen and I'm snoring, that leads to me twisting and turning. Therefore, I'm not really getting good sleep. Do you see where I'm going with this? That chain reaction thing just sets off a domino imbalance in my body, and I have no idea that it's related to food. My first association is it's probably sinuses or allergies. Then I resort to taking pills for a headache, pills to clear up the sinus or the mucus congestion. And the easiest way to avoid all of that and what that might lead to as far as diseases and chronic pain and so forth is to flip a simple switch. Eat like this often to make sure my body is at its best. Whether you're a beginner or advanced in the kitchen, or you're fully plant-based or you're not, you won't be able to deny this meal is not only incredibly simple, but the flavors and satisfaction are just On my website, this meal is titled Easy Smoky Sheet Pan Oven Veggies. As a side note, if you're a beginner and you really want some super simple meals, look for sheet pan meals. They're incredible. Not only easy to put together, but also to clean up. It's a good way to make things in bulk and also build your confidence in the kitchen. Chickpeas are going to be the main protein source in this meal. For my folks that are looking to increase the profits, you could easily add in some tofu. Or if you're not a fan of chickpeas, just swap the tofu. I really wouldn't consider other beans unless you're planning to add them later in the cooking process. I chose to do sweet potatoes in this dish because they are naturally sweet, and it's a good way to incorporate that subtle sugar that I really wanted to add into my spice blend. But sugar isn't an anti-inflammatory. I really wish it was though. Although if you decide to swap out the sweet potato for another, it's still gonna be a very solid dish. Keeping in mind, your potatoes in this dish, you wanna make sure you cube them a ½ inch. This way they cook within that 15 to 20 minute range. Also, leave the skin on. It's good for you. Plus it beats trying to, For my greens, I went with bok choy. I could see another good option as possibly broccoli or even some asparagus. Depending the vegetable you're picking, remember to also consider the cook time. With that being said, I could see some confusion around vegetables that may cause gas and misunderstanding how they could be anti-inflammatory. I'm not a doctor, but keeping things simple, every vegetable may not agree with you. That doesn't mean that it isn't an anti-inflammatory. One easy thing to consider is every person is different. Some really good vegetables, some folks are allergic to or may upset their stomach. I think about I could eat a fair amount of broccoli, which has a lot of fiber, and not be very gassy at all. Yet, everyone else in my household could eat a handful of florets and somehow their flatulence is like playing a new guitar solo over Aerosmith's Dream On. Question of the week. How do you remain vegan just starting off? How do you transform your mind to live like this every single day? It took me 5 years to go vegan. And when I think about it, what keeps me grounded in veganism today is the very same thing that kept me grounded when I started. Through all of the tough times during the transition. So really it's about having your reason or, your why. Why do you want to go plant-based or vegan? Or even, what's making you curious about it? Some of the big ones for people are planet, animals, health. For me, it was my health. I'm a firm believer in taking care of yourself first. If you do that, then you know how to take care of everyone else. I want to be around for my kids. I want to show them how to ride a bike. I want to sit at my daughter's tea parties and get my nails painted. And now that goal is still very similar today, just it's grown in magnitude. The whole thing, it's a journey. And like any journey, you're gonna make mistakes here and there. You're going to drop a few cuss words and you're gonna question yourself, like, what was I thinking? I think the best thing for people are taking it slow. Start with one meal out of the entire week and making that plant-based. Then try doing a whole day. And from there, you just add on, you build. Ask a lot of questions, don't compare yourself to others, and listen to your body. I would also say possibly connect with a community of vegans, but you got one right here. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, believe in good. Peace.